Welcome to Create the Best Me. I am Carmen Hecox, a personal development coach, and I am so excited to be connecting with you today. Whether you're listening to the podcast or joining us on YouTube, my goal is to help women navigate through midlife challenges with compassion, inspiration, and empowering conversation. Each week, we'll dive into thought provoking topics designed to build self confidence, overcome invisible woman syndrome, and find the courage to create the best version of yourself. I'll also be joined by expert guests who will share the wisdom and insights. So make yourself comfortable and let's embark on this journey together. Hi there, and welcome to Create the Best Me, the show where we explore ways to help you become the best version of yourself. Today, I'm joined by the amazing Dr. Jennifer Palladino. She's not only a chiropractor, but she's also the host of Rockin' Healthy Lifestyles podcast, where she chats with musicians, actors, and performers about mental health, emotional challenges, and how they maintain a healthy lifestyle. Dr. Jen is here to share her expert advice on how women in midlife can empower themselves and feel fully alive. Midlife can be a challenging time for many women, but Dr. Jen's 4 easy strategies will help you get back on track and embrace this exciting new phase of your life. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and get ready to be inspired. Hello, Jen, and welcome to the show. I am so glad to have you on. For the people that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Sure. And thank you so much, Carmen, for having me on. I'm Dr. Jen Palladino. I'm a chiropractor who specializes in the injuries of instrumental musicians and performing artists. And I'm in private practice, and I'm also a sound healer and a podcast host.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about what sound healing is? And then can you talk about your podcast?
Sure. Sound healing is imagine lying comfortably on a yoga mat with cushions and being surrounded by odd types of instrumental sounds, gongs, Tibetan bowls, didgeridoos. It brings you down into a very comforted place, almost like where the monks go to meditate. And it's excellent for deep relaxation, anxiety, depression, physical ailments like temporomandibular jaw problems, clenching, migraines. There's a lot of good it does. It's become very popular lately, especially in the yoga communities. But sound healing is extremely beneficial to the body, mind, and
So is it
spirit.
kind of like a
And
meditation? Putting someone in a meditative
yes,
state?
absolutely. It's hard. People say, oh, it's so hard to meditate. I have so many things going through my head. I can't meditate. But this is almost like a guided meditation with sometimes words initially, but basically it's just frequencies, tones, and vibrations.
Sounds very relaxing. I'll have to go
Yes.
down to Southern California and give it a try.
Be surprised what's around you. And also, if you want to try it, you can always go on YouTube and just look up sound healing, sound baths. There's plenty on there.
Good. Now tell us about
hmm
your amazing podcast.
Oh, thank you. My podcast is called Rockin' Healthy Lifestyles. And I love talking with performing artists, popular musicians, and actors. And we talk about their life and career, their ups and downs, and what stirs their creative juices, and how they stay fit and fabulous in body, mind, and spirit.
And your episodes air how frequent and what day can people look out for your episodes?
I release them every 2 weeks on a Tuesday, and you can find them. They stream anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, everything, Podbean. So pretty much everywhere. And it's interesting. I find different actors, musicians with all sorts of issues that we talk about. We've talked about addiction, we've talked about sobriety, we've talked about I had 2 episodes aired in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month of 2 music artists who had bouts of cancer and their stories. And I have everybody from child actors to the drummer of Def Leppard. There's a big selection, but it's really geared for a lot of how music and how entertainment and how art can uplift the spirit and how we can find solace instead of drugs and alcohol and medications that may or may not be necessary, but how you can find it through music or use music and art as an adjunct to healing.
And I will say I'm a fan. I've listened to several of your episodes, and I will say what I admire about your podcast is that you get these movie stars or musicians. I guess I put them at a different, almost like a different planet because they're different, or at least I saw them before listening to your podcast as different kind of people. But you bring them down to more of a human or regular type of people, and they discuss challenges that we have. They're no different than us. They go through the exact same challenges, even though they're successful or they're rich. They're regular folks. And I like the way you bring them down and make them sound like regular people that have the same regular problems that the rest of us have.
And guess what? They
Yeah.
do. They do. And I think it's also helpful to discuss those things for them as well. Certainly sharing that part of their life. Some people are very open about their trials and their triumphs. And that's important because this is what we all share this. And a lot of people just want to help. They just want to help. So, so we can look at sometimes our idols and see that, hey, they're not just what we saw on the screen as a child or not what we just listened to on Top 40 radio. They're just like us and they have problems like us. And I'm so grateful that they share it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and my guest lists are just going to get more and more interesting as time goes on.
The other thing, I think that a lot of us get this misconceived notion that if I had more money, then I wouldn't have these problems. And I think your podcast really changes, or at least for me, it changed my perspective that it doesn't matter how much money you have, you still have struggles. We all have struggles.
Well, more money brings more problems. It's just in a different category. So, I mean, you hear all the time about lottery winners and a whole new set of problems that they experience. Of course, everyone has the stress of money because we need to survive and we need to live. So, if that's not a constant pending, it really makes and has no bearing on our true emotions. And really, I am always a proponent of all you need is love.
Beatles.
Yeah. Yay.
So I asked you to come on the show because you mentioned that entering midlife was the most positive experience of your life. So I'd like to discuss why you feel this way and what happened along your journey as you were approaching midlife that has given you such a positive perspective.
Well, I think we can all, whoever we are, we can all reflect back on our younger self. A lot of people sometimes forget the difficulties that they experienced growing up and on a day-to-day basis growing up. I have a really good memory. So yeah, I mean, things were happy, things were different, but things were tough and tricky to process. I think the midlife part of it, you get to a point in your life where you just don't really value others' opinions as you used to. Now, that doesn't mean better or worse. I'm just saying it's different. Your own priorities take precedence, how you view life, because now you've had enough experience in your path to see things very differently than we can all agree. We all see things very differently than we did at 20 or 30 and sometimes 40. So the priorities change when our situations change. The older you get, mid to later, you're not having children, you're having grandchildren. And so that shift in perspective is just what happens in midlife. I do notice with a lot, because I talk to a lot of patients, a lot of women who are and have gone through or who are going through that midlife. And a lot of it is negative, and I often question why.
So do you think that you talked about your perspectives change? So could it be that maybe when I'm younger, I keep saying, when I make enough money, I'm going to buy that Mercedes Benz. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
10 years later, I might say, not practical to have a Mercedes Benz. Now I'd rather have the money that I would have used toward purchasing this bling. I'd rather use it on, spending quality time with the people I love or traveling or doing something for myself.
Priority shift.
Mm.
That's what it is, priority shift. It's so funny. It's true. It's what you used to. Don't you sometimes, everybody I'm saying, don't you sometimes look back and say, what was I thinking? Like, why did I, for example, this perfect example. When my son, I have a 26-year-old son, when he was a little boy, it was like, you just wanted to gather things. You just thought that if you had, you know, tons of furniture and lots of different china or place settings or that your future would be better in some way. I can't wait to get rid of this stuff, you guys. It's like, what am I going to use this for? Who could use this? How many different china patterns do I need? It's very different. It's almost like I think when you hit midlife, you're ready to dump a lot of the stuff that now you see it's holding you back. Whereas you were trying to make gains, a lot of people think, oh, more is better. And that is so not true. That's so not true. Sometimes less is way better because there's a burden with all this stuff. And here's a lot of people can relate to this, Carmen. When you start taking care of your parents because they're aging and they have all that stuff, and you think, what am I going to do with this? My kids don't want it. It's to them outdated, yet to me, it's so sentimental. But where am I going to put it? How am I going to use it? It's it's a lot of that. So your priorities shift and change, and so your desires shift and change accordingly. And I think the best advice for people is it's like the Tao Te Ching or the Tao, Tao, one of the tenets that Lao Tzu, who was the prophet, said all those thousands of years ago. And I'm paraphrasing, of course. It's you got to flow like water. So when there are changes, you have to go with the changes. So that's what midlife has presented to me. And it makes me happier to think, okay, well, now I have my profession and I've been in it for 30 plus years. And I've lived in my house for 30 plus years. And I have my child, he's 26. It's not like I'm looking to start a family or looking to buy a house or just graduated school and starting a business or practice. It's already done for years. So when you get that priority shift, you look at things differently in a healthy way, and you should.
So you kind of look at midlife as a gift as opposed to a crisis?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I have to say, A lot of my patients, male and female, talk about, I hate this. They talk about, well, we're getting old. No, you're getting old. I am not, not up here. It's up here. It's how you view things. Because I notice people that say that, they're sick. They have ailments. They have limitations that they put on themselves. Their friends feel the same way. And I don't have that. I have friends in all age groups. I have a lot of young friends. I have a lot of very young friends, 25, 26. We go to concerts together. I have friends in their 40s, and they turn me on to like all this crazy like metal music, and I turn them on to the old punk. But I'm always looking for great opportunities, and you can always recycle the things in life to suit your circumstances. So just take care of your health. Main thing,
And I
biggest.
think that you, at least from I've known you for almost 2 years now, I would say that you live a very youthful life.
Oh,
Don't
thank you.
judge Jen by your experience because of some of the things that you talk about growing up and stuff. Judge you based upon the way you carry yourself, and you carry yourself in a very youthful way. I'm not saying that you're going out and doing some crazy 20-year-olds would do, but you're very, as you said, very fluid. You're very open to learning new things. You're not afraid to step
I
out of that
try.
comfort zone. This is the way we've done it, and this is the way it works. You're open to try the new scary stuff.
I am, I have to say, so my mom is going to be 91 soon. And I had a really great, close, tight relationship with my grandmother, my mother's mother. And she was, of course, old fashioned, as the term goes. And so I value a lot of, I guess, the style. I do have that component in me where I enjoy a lot of, like, for example, I enjoy a lot of old black and white movies. To me, they're wonderful. It's definitely a hobby of mine. But yet, I love Public Image Limited. That's Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols, his band. He's my hero, and I go see them. And there's mosh pits and things, and I get dressed up goth punk. I mean, so that balance of being able to just enjoy, you don't have to categorize anything. It's just, you just have to enjoy what you like. And if you like something that's young, quote unquote, young, or you like something that's quote unquote old, I mean, that's the enrichment part. That's where the joy, that's where the enrichment comes from. Those things give you
Mm.
joy.
So I
So
want to circle back to something you had said before. How did you cope with the common challenges that many women face during midlife, such as physical health and shift in relationships? Because I'm pretty sure you've had that where your body feels a little bit different. There are certain things that you can't control. And shift in relationships, because you did say that some of your patients, you've noticed they have that mindset of Debbie Downer, and you notice that the people that hang out
yeah.
with are also Debbie Downers. From a
Hmm.
personal perspective, how have you adapted to things that are out of your control, like physical change, shift in your health and shift in relationships?
Well, the health part, it's the nature of my job. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. So I'm educated in nutrition, and I've become like a bit, it's not extreme for me as a doctor giving patients advice and working with patients with supplementation and dietary shifts and changes. To my family, they think I'm insane. But I think I'm careful with my diet. Haven't eaten fast food in, I don't know, 15 years.
That's impressive.
Yeah, never. Not even a McDonald's fry. Not even one, because I know that's the detriment. So And I'm not saying I'm Italian, and I love pastries, Italian pastries. It's not like I haven't had a cannoli, but I'm careful because of the sugar. And I take very specific supplementation. I also find that it's not just diet, it's certainly movement and exercise. And for me, if you don't get outside, I don't care what your weather is, you have to get outside and breathe. You have to get outside and just let your energy, because we're in a room all the time. There's just limited space for your energy. The second you go outside, you can open that up and you feel different when you come back in. And that to me is that break in the action, that being able to have quiet thoughts and breathe and then come back in and do what you need to do. It puts years on your life. So, in the physical part of it, that to me is essential. That's going to extend my life. Now, as far as pains and aches and creaks, I mean, I had scoliosis since I'm a child. And so I had back pain as a teenager. So my back pain now is like, yeah, oh yeah, that. Not that it hasn't gotten bad, but I always attribute it to being able to, it's helpful if I had to have it. It's great. I'm a chiropractor because I can definitely relate to my patient's pain. There's a lot of doctors who've never had that kind of pain. So they might know what to do, but that connection, that understanding means everything. So my body changing in that respect, I mean, I understand the musculoskeletal pains from most of my life. But again, I try and keep healthy. I do yoga, hot yoga, I spin and walk. My walks are great nature walks. And so on a daily basis. So I really try and keep my health and my well being mentally, emotionally, physically on board. And as far as relationships go, so I was married to my son's dad and we're divorced, but we're good friends because we share something that means everything in the world to both of us. We have that commonality. And so my relationship with my ex-husband is good. Not to say I don't want to punch him in the nose every now and then, but I'm sure he feels the same way. But we make it work because, you know, I mean, he's a good person. It's just you start to move away in a lot of ways as time goes on, and we were together for a long time. And that changes people sometimes. So I hear a lot of stories. Don't forget, I have patients who come and tell me some crazy stuff, some about their horrifying divorces. And I think, wow, I mean, I'm really lucky to not have had that. So yeah, that's been, I guess, in my
Yeah. So you've
corner.
chosen to have the relationship with your ex-husband be a healthy relationship, regardless to why the marriage didn't work. You've taken
Right.
the spin out of it and said, hey, it didn't work. We have this beautiful child that we brought into this world, and our relationship being healthy, my son interprets this as this is what a relationship should be like. This is what healthy is like. So you guys are like an example per se?
I don't know about that, but because, you know, Carmen, life is not black and white, it's
Mhm.
shades of gray. And the sooner we accept that, when I say black and white, I mean, a lot of people are like, no, your relationship should be like this, or it shouldn't be like that. It's like, I mean, let's face it. You go with the flow of life, right? And so it's definitely shades of gray. I mean, I certainly care about this person. We've had history together. And he has a girlfriend for, oh, I don't know, like at least 10 years now, maybe 11. So, I just, things changed between us. So, do I still care about him? Yeah. Would I still help him if he or his girlfriend needed help? Of course. It's just, maybe it's my nature. Maybe it's his nature. It's just we realize, or excuse me, I realized that our marriage wasn't working because I wasn't able to be fulfilled. We just didn't have that part. And we still maintain like decent aspects of our knowing each other. But in that respect, we grew up and out. So, but I'm very grateful that we have that. It's important for us to have that. And certainly for my son to understand that. He's like, "Ugh, my parents."
But I
That's
think it
him.
gives your son that sense of closeness that he doesn't have to choose sides or anything
Mhm.
like that, that he has a
Oh, no.
mom and he has a dad, and they're good people. They're different people,
Yeah.
but they're good people, and they're people that
Yeah.
can work cohesively. And I think
Yes.
that's very
Yes.
important.
Totally. And maybe work cohesively, but I mean, we still have our own styles. We like to go back and forth, still argue about things, but we can still sit down. I know this sounds crazy, and people are like, what? We can still sit down and we're like, hey, why don't we put on our wedding video? And we'll count, oh, gee, can you believe how many people have passed away since all those years ago? And we'll laugh about things. But then again, I might get mad that because he comes to visit my son all the time. So, I mean, I see him often enough. But do I want to be married to him? No. Does he want to be married to me? No. But do we want to continue a decent connection and friendship and relationship? Sure. So that's kind of sort of how it is. And so I'm very grateful about that because is it unusual? I don't think so. I think a lot of people have pretty. There's a lot of people out there who have decent post divorce relationships,
I
and
think that's
that's key.
very impressive that you said that you two don't mind sitting down and watching the video of your wedding. Because my parents were married for 21 years and then they got a divorce. And my mom found it very important to have a relationship with my dad. It was just a friendship and it was more for
Right.
us. And even though we were all grown, but she just felt that it was important because she didn't want us choosing sides. And I look back and I'm like, wow, my mom is such an amazing woman that she did that for us. Even though my father didn't see things like she did. My father passed away about 3 years ago, but I have these wonderful memories of my parents because my dad lived for another 21, 22 years. But I have those memories of growing up with my parents and then growing older with my parents from a different perspective. And so I commend you that you and your ex-husband are able to say that was a portion of our life. We can't erase it, but this is the season we're in now.
Right. Exactly. And I would never want to erase it. Maybe I tweak it. Maybe a tweak here and there. Oh, maybe I should have done that instead. But I mean, basically, no. I think when you love someone, you love them for who they are, right?
Mhm.
As long as you're not being abused physically or emotionally or whatever else there is. I think that I'll always love him, certainly. I mean, I do, but
But it's different. It's a different kind of love. It's not the love when you first get married. Yeah.
romantic. No, it's not
Yeah.
romantic. No, no, no.
So
So,
tell me, do you think that perhaps having this different perspective or way of looking at your past to your present, do you think that maybe that may have given you more peace with entering midlife? Do you think that the way you've accepted that this was my married life, this is my single life, this is the relationship I'm going to have with my ex husband, helped you move through midlife as you were going through it?
well, when you're going through it, you kind of don't analyze it like that because when you do analyze it, it's usually like hindsight. Like, first of all, you think, oh my gosh, how did I get through that? But when you're looking back like that, other than maybe I would have done this, I don't think I would have done anything differently. I just naturally progressed into moving further away. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have done anything differently. And I was always good alone, just in general. I always have, even now, I always have projects and I get excited about doing things and I have friends and I'm not walking around going, gee, I'm lonely. So that is very helpful to where when you're not with a partner, when you go from being with a partner to not being with a partner, and we were together a significant amount of time, I don't know, 18 years, something like that. And when you go from having a partner to not having a partner, I, I I had my own business. I had a well-established business, friends already. It wasn't like that part of me had to reinvent. I think what you have to reinvent is who you are or who you'll be as a romantic partner. Because a lot of times in a marriage that fades away and people kind of move away from that, but then he's not in the picture or she's not in the picture anymore. So you have to, or for women, he's not in the picture anymore. You have to, or she, and you have to reinvent yourself. So the reinvention is usually on so many levels, but I didn't have that. I always maintained my own deal when it came to friends and business and so forth. As far as for lack of better term, romantic part of me, I just had to allow that to happen. And you meet somebody and they bring different things to the table, and so you can maybe touch upon things that you had never known about yourself, which has happened, and then you grow out of that as well. So, but there's always a takeaway. There's always a takeaway from any relationship we have, even if it was a bad relationship. Oh, gee, I don't think I'll be doing that again. It's a takeaway. It's a great takeaway. And if you look at all these as not failures, but I guess trophies that you could set up in your emotional mind and say, look what I learned. Look what I'm not going to do. Look how I've changed. I would have never thought that way then, but I think this way now. So there are no mistakes. I didn't make that up. There are no mistakes as long as you learn from them. And so I think relationships too, new relationships that you come into, even romantic relationships that you come into, bring different things to the forefront because now it's with a different person and you're a different person than all those Jennifers ago. That's how I say it. A million Jennifers ago.
Very
So,
true. I know like some women might be challenged by, oh, I look old. Your body's changing. I'm getting fat. Or their friends are in a different season than they are. And so I find that this happens a lot during midlife. And it's either, like you said, you become fluid and go with the flow, or you become stagnant and get stuck into, well, it's always worked this way, so let's do it this way. And how far is that going to get you?
well, it's like any math equation, you're going to get the same sum if you don't change the factors. So I hear a lot of women, they're stuck. They're stuck. They're stuck. Well, a lot of that stuck is because of their cortisol levels are high, because their stress is high, because they don't challenge themselves and find a proper dietary plan where they can lose weight. And it's out there and it's not a fad. There's some really reputable, serious ways that you can lose weight. And you can always change your hairstyle and get some new makeup and new clothes. So I don't put up with that. I can't kind of thing. And it all starts with emotion. You got to get your emotions in check first. Everything will follow. But if you're constantly in that same draggy down, maybe a high stress job that you take home with you because, the boss is an idiot or whatever, but you need the paycheck. There's so many things that you can change, but you have to change the factors in the equation to get a different sum. This is how the world works. So you can do that within your own life and you'll find changes for sure.
So tell me, how did you prioritize your own well being and happiness in your life, to give you a positive perspective? Because, like I said, you tend to release a lot of positive. Were you always this way? Or did you say, hey, you know what? I want change and here's how it's going to happen?
No, I was not always this way. I was No, no, as a kid, as a teenager, really, let's say, no, absolutely not. I was almost pessimistic, but with this current, like, optimistic current underwriting me. Because my mother is the most optimistic person. That lady can talk anybody off a ledge, and she's talked me off plenty. And so I learned by example how negative can you be? Because negativity is like, you're so negative, and then it's like, you see, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. Well, you keep feeding it. What do you think? If you changed your attitude, I mean, how much can you bang your head up against the wall if you change your attitude and looked at the positive things? I'll give you a good example. People talk to me a lot about death and dying and loss, and the grief from loss is a big subject matter. And that grief it's very sad and it takes you down, and but I always equate it to my cat. I'm a cat person. And my cat was 2 weeks shy of being 19, and she had at least 10 years of kidney disease, and the vet's like, "How?" Well, because I take good care of my cats. I mean, good care. But at this point, she was going through the process and she was dying. And it was very hard emotionally because, I've had her since she was 4 months old, and here she is 2 weeks shy of being 19. It's a long time. And through significant times, my little boy picked her out, and now all these years later. So as she was dying, I called the vet, scheduled a vet to come to the house to put her to sleep because it was getting, I didn't want her to suffer. And I knew that I had to face this huge grief, what was going to be huge grief for me, but it was for her. I had to put myself aside and do what was right for her because of my love for her. So, because I did that, I look back at it and I go like this. I pat myself on the back because I was able to be strong, not to be swayed by my emotions because I couldn't experience the pain, but it was for her, out of my love for her. This, I guess, how can I say it? Like, it helps with grief when you say, I rallied for that person or that person. I rallied for that loved being. And so in that, it helps me grieve more easier, I guess, easier because I was there for that person or that being, that pet, whichever. And it makes a difference when you look at change like that. You have to look at the positive aspects of things. And that was a positive aspect of her death, that her owner, who loved her dearly, was there every moment, making her as comfortable as possible for her transition. So it's a tough situation to look at, but it really applies to looking at the positive things in life. Instead of getting stuck in the negativity, you have to turn around and look what's good.
Find the good in the difficult situation or find the good in the grief?
Yes. Find the good in the difficult situation or the grief of, say, a particular situation like that. She was 18, almost 19 years old. Positive. She was well loved, kept safe, fed. She had other cats around. She was healthy except for this issue. She had a good life. I mean, it gave me, as a responsible pet owner, it gave me a sense of, I guess, accomplishment. And I had, the most important thing was I had that magnificent love with her in my life. All you need is love. It boils down to that. So those are amazing things, absolutely amazing things. So that's what I'm saying. If you look at the goodness and the positivity instead of, I miss my cat. Of course, I miss my cat. But when I feel those ways, I always think to myself, good mommy. Thank goodness I was there for her. So that's how I turn it
Yeah. So
around.
let me add in here. Your mom was a school teacher growing up.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
had mentioned that when you were younger, you weren't as positive as you are now. So do you feel that maybe having your mom as a role model perhaps attributed to your positive outlook now because she kind of like instilled that in you growing up, even though you maybe weren't ready to accept it back then, but you reached a point in your life where mom's words started to make sense.
Yes. Well, a little backstory. I had a very difficult situation growing up. My dad had severe mental illness, and my mother, of course, she didn't know into the marriage, of course, and then this tragic, tragic situation happened. And but in the face of it all, she had to protect her daughters and try and make the best of the situation, and eventually they got divorced, and because it was just better for her to separate us out from that household, because it could have gotten dangerous, really. So as a little girl growing up, seeing that and loving your parents but seeing difficulty trying to make sense out of all the uncertainty, and just, I mean, there's for people who have experienced that, they get it, I'm sure, but it's such tumultuous situation, and then to be a little girl, so vulnerable, it really shapes you, and so I've had to really climb out of a lot of those ideas about how it shaped me, and that's been a challenge. So, of course, as a teenager, you you go through that rebellious, but I'm generally a rebellious person, which is good. I look at it as a positive attribute, but it was getting heavy at points. But again, I always had that thread. My mother's an unusual person, and that I couldn't have been blessed with a better mother. She was my savior, really. That's how I view it. And my sister too, because my sister is very positive as well. And it was because of our mother. So it just took time to really see, but she always fostered like any ideas I had, creative, or she always fostered that and encouraged me to be a chiropractor. And even when I said, "Hey mom, I'm moving 3,000 miles away to go to school," she didn't want me to, but she encouraged me to do it because she wanted me to be happy. And I'm still 3,000 miles away almost 40 years later. So I just saw from her tried and true positivity that there's nothing like it. You can rally the troops by being positive. And when I say rally the troops, I mean friends and people. There's just so much to be excited about. It's just you have to see it. Oh, but so and so's dying, or this horrifying thing is happening. Yeah, I know, but you can still be a happy person with tragedies happening, as opposed to just absorbing those tragedies and letting those tragedies define you.
Mhm.
Difference.
Yeah.
Difference.
And I mean, I've gone through challenges in my life, and some people sometimes ask me, like, because I have an ex husband as well. And, people have asked me, why don't you hate him? You should hate him for what he did. I don't hate him or anyone who came into my life from after my ex husband to this point because I feel like negative or positive, whatever happened along my journey has made me the person I am today. Those experiences, whether they were negative or positive, have helped shape me to who I am.
Little
Little, yeah, little
trophies.
trophies. Some of them are little broken trophies, but they're trophies.
Mm-hmm. They still
They
have a
do.
place.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, 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 that's a good way to look
Yeah.
at it.
Because had those experiences not happened, who would I be today?
Right, right. People get stuck in those relationships, they're afraid to move because the fear is so overwhelming. But sometimes when you're licking the bottom of the barrel, you realize after the last lick, you can't go any further down. So there's only one way to go,
Hmm.
and that's up. So things can only get better. Ah, okay. So that's a horse of a different color right
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
So,
I like
yeah.
that. I really like that. So tell me, how did you build a support system of friends and loved ones who have helped you throughout your time? I know you initially you said you have friends that are of different age.
I think just being in the community, doing what I do, I've made friends with a lot of patients too, because I have patients who've come to me for years as I'm their family doctor, their chiropractor, and they go through a million different MDs through their HMOs, but I'm always there for them. So that's been good. But again, I think just through our experiences in life. I just growing up, people back from New York because I grew up in New York, as if you couldn't tell from this accent. So I still have friends from all those years ago, and my family is still there. So, but then I came out here to California for graduate school, and I still have friends from graduate school. And then, of course, life, just how it presents, well, the Moms Club from when my son was a little boy to I worked for American Ballet Theater when Mikhail Baryshnikov was artistic director. I have friends from that. I have friends from all the different projects that I've done and the gyms that I've worked out for. I mean, you just, as you accumulate friends as you go along. And so that becomes a support system, especially because I don't have my family in the next town or down the block. They're all the way back east. So my friends are pretty prominent in my life in that way.
But have you
Yeah.
always been the kind of person that as a little girl you had a lot of friends?
No, hell no. No, no. Because I was such a quirky kid, I was a sad child because of what was going on. And I was an outcast because I grew up in a town that I grew up in a wealthy Jewish neighborhood and I was neither. But my mother was a teacher in the school district and she was well loved. And because of that, you're Mrs. Palladino's daughter? Yes. That's where I had my friends from. But my sister was Miss High School. She was really for me, no. I liked the school work, but I didn't like the social aspect of school because I was going through kind of a living hell with my father's situation. And so it was just a question of time to process. But I saw my mother super social. She loves to be social and nice and kind. I saw it firsthand. And it always boils down to that saying, you get more flies with honey than vinegar, or something like that. It's true. People respond way better with a kind word than with a sharp word. And so when you're taking care of people, because I'm a nurturer by, I guess, osmosis. And so can't yell at a patient or hurry up, throw them out because I have 15 more. No, I encourage them because I see their potential. And I'm very grateful that they've landed on my doorstep so I can kind of say, no, look at it this way, not this way. And so that's been very helpful. And to see those changes, to see those positive changes, wow, it just makes me happy to be able to be part of that and help people like that. So it took time. It just takes time. But you can't let your anger and your fear and your bitterness or being resentful, you can't let that like color your world or get in your way. There's got to be a way to get people say, well, how do I get rid of that? I'm so full of that emotion. Get outside and take a walk. Breathe. Get some fresh air. Go take a yoga class. Move your body. as best you can. Oh, I need a knee replacement, some people might say. Okay, but there are other things you can do. At least you can sit outside. It's so important to connect with nature. These things change your attitude. That, and my biggest problem I'll share, I'm a sugarholic. So that's been a really big challenge for me, but it changes your body, it affects your mind. So there are things you could definitely do to uplift yourself, especially if you're coming out of a marriage, let's say, or making a life change during m- midlife. If you're making a change, or the kids are going to college and now it's like, it's crickets. There's definitely things you can do. It's the desire to do them. That's what you need. And then you'll find your
Okay. I know we had talked about this last week and the group of girls that hang out with us or virtually. I had made the
yes.
comment. I said, Jen's the kind of girl that if she walked into a party, she'd come out with at least 10 new friends because that's the person you are. You're just this person that attracts people. I mean, maybe attracts people, or maybe you go out and hunt people down. You see the people that really need you and you like to push them out of their comfort zone and to be somebody different.
I think what it is, the thought of people, let's say we're all sitting, let's say there's 10 of us, and whoever's watching this, includes yourself in it. There's 10 of us or 15 of us, and we're sitting around this table and we're eating, of course, but we're laughing, we're having a great time. We have a project we're doing together and we're just feeding off each other's ideas. Doesn't that appeal? Like, doesn't that appeal? That happiness, that camaraderie, that togetherness. And then you can go for those who are, because I'm an extrovert in certain ways, but I'm an introvert in others. And you have to honor both of that. So when we leave this table of friends with our projects and our ideas, we go home and we sit alone by it and we think, gee, that was such a nice experience. I'm so glad I have friends around. And so that's what I kind of strive for, is to get people together and, hey, let's go to this show or this sound healing or something to that effect, where people are like, yeah, that's what I love. I love.
What would you
Mhm.
say to the person who says, okay, I'm going to take Dr. Jen's advice. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go to yoga. But they only go to yoga. They do the class and then they hightail their butt out of there. They make no connections.
Go back. Keep going back, because that's what yoga is about. It's not, oh, I did yoga. And no, it's a practice. Yoga is a practice. And like with any kind of exercise, you start to crave it. But with yoga, you find it's not only, of course, good because it gets your blood circulating, but with yoga, you learn concentration, you learn focus, you learn how to quiet your mind, and you start to crave that. So don't just do one class, keep going back and develop a
But I mean, as
practice.
far as like connecting with the other people.
Well, when you're there, you develop this need to go, and then you see the same person over and over, the same people over and over again. And then, oh, well, hi, you come often to this class, don't you? Oh, my name's so and so. That's how it is. You don't have to be like, that's me. I like to talk to people. But even if I was shy and I kept seeing this one gal that, we start a little conversation because she likes that part of the room and so do I, to put our mats down. You do it to your own capacity, your own desire, but you don't need a million friends. One or two good friends means everything.
Do you have any advice for women who may feel overwhelmed or uncertain because they're going through their own midlife crisis or they're transitioning through it? What kind of advice would you give them to just kind of help them deal with everything that they're currently being faced with and they're going to encounter, because there's so many changes that take place physically, emotionally?
Well, I mean, it depends because there's so many different situations, but first thing first is, I would say, you have to be good to yourself. And that means if you have a partner who is not honoring you and who is not treating you as you should be treated, it's time to step away or to reassess or to somehow change that factor in the equation, because it's never going to change, and you never want to. This is what I say. My mother gets mad at me. You never want to lie in your deathbed and say, "Why didn't I?" No. You want to say, "I'm so glad I did." Okay? Even late in the game, don't even worry about that. The first thing is you can't have another person abusing you emotionally, physically. That's unacceptable. So, but if that's not the case, and there's plenty of women who feel stuck physically, again, physically, they tell me, well, I have to cook for my family, so I can't. I separated my meals and I made mine and I made theirs. It was extra work. I was still working. I still had a full plate, pardon the pun, but in other ways. But I made sure that I did for me. I kept doing for me. I had to. Because if I'm going to be in charge of the kids, of the household, of my job, whatever my job ends up being, and all the many 10,000 things in life, I have to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm happy. Because if I'm not happy, and no one else is going to be. Key factor, key. They say, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, so then you can put the oxygen mask on your children or your whomever around you. You have to. You have to focus on yourself. And if you think it's selfish, you're not going to last. You won't last. Something will happen, and then you're going to be forced to take care of yourself. Like I've seen it. People just try and do so much, and then they have a heart attack. Oh, I guess you're forced now to take care of yourself.
Mhm.
You see? So these are the things that I know it's hard. I know it's people get stuck. It's understandable. But again, you have to take your own bull by the horns.
What about those women that perhaps are stuck with what would my life have been if I would have married my high school sweetheart? And they become so fixated that their life sucks because
Of that.
someone threw a wrench in there and they didn't end up with Mr. Right. And their whole life is just consumed on it's bad because this is where it should have been. And so they're not moving
Huh.
forward.
Right. But that's obvious then that something's wrong with the person themselves and that they need to fix first, because this Mr. Right thing is in the time that I grew up. Oh gosh, my mother used to say this to my sister and I. Your wedding day will be the happiest day of your life. No, it'll be one of the happiest days. It's not the happiest day. Come on. It's that kind of thing. When you think somebody else is going to define you or complete you, that's another one. To me, in my book, oh no. Oh, he completes me. Give me a break. You complete you. That's what you need to do. Is you need to complete you. And then whoever comes to the table better be bringing their 100% of thumbs up, because yeah. Yeah. That's the whole thing. You have to really focus on you first and really cleaning up what you need to clean up first. And if a spouse is then, you need to let that go for your own welfare and betterment. It's something that you can do. Yeah, I hate to hear when women feel stuck in a marriage. It's just not good for energetics. It's not good for their physical health, because you internalize all that stuff. So when it's not right here, you start internalizing it and your body starts to be affected. I wouldn't do that for any man or any
Mhm.
woman. So that's key. I know these things sound harsh. Holy cow, doc. But I mean, here we are talking about it, and sometimes people need to hear it.
So your key points are focus on you first, analyze and see what is going on, what needs to be changed.
Yes, yes. But I have to clarify that yes, you first, except if you have little children, let's face it, parenting equals sacrifice. When they're little and they need guidance, you should take food out of your own mouth for them because they need this now until the time they're, yeah, I know I do my son's laundry still. He's 26. Okay, okay. But again, I have to say that you need to take care of your children. Your children should be your first priority over your husband. Well, in my opinion, yeah, 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 absolutely, because they depend on you. So I've heard many stories where the husband takes precedence and the children suffer for it. And you don't want to wreck their life, their emotional life. You had children, take responsibility. They come first. So, yes, you do come first, but we're talking midlife. So, usually at this point, your children are grown up enough to where they're really starting to take on their own responsibilities and their own focuses. Yeah.
And then I think point number 2, you said, get connected with nature. Get moving. Do something.
Yes.
Don't sit in that rut.
Yes. Exactly. And did you know, Carmen, that there's something called earthing? Whereas if you take off your shoes and socks and go outside and stand on your grass, or even if you're that daring in the snow, I wouldn't do it in the snow, but some people do. The transference of negative energy, you're grounding into the earth. And so really feel revitalized. Here's a perfect example. Take a walk on the beach where you're walking in the sand. You feel the water lapping up on your feet as you walk. Beautiful, perfect way to do some earthing and to really release a lot of negativity. There's also plenty of videos on YouTube as far as self-help through sound, through meditation. It's there. It's all there.
And then I think another point that you brought up is try new things. Step out of that comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Try new things.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it's like ever so slight, something just different that will help you open your mind and see that change is a possibility for all of us. And you'd rather be able to make your own change instead of have change foisted on you.
And I think you brought up another point. You said, let go of negative feelings. Don't feed it.
Yes.
Don't feed the beast.
No, no. And how to do that? That's the big question. How do you do that? Oh, I'm so angry. I don't know how to. Well, there's everything from scream therapy to, like we said, taking a walk in nature, to talking to a therapist, to leaving the source and getting rid of the source that is making you angry. Some people have a terrible relationship with their mother because it wasn't meant to be. So there's ways of having boundaries, and boundaries are a great way to start when you're trying to focus on self-care, is to really learn your boundaries. And so that's an important step that you can at least investigate for yourself.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you taking
Thank
the
you,
time
Carmen.
to provide your experience so that you can help other women. They can listen to what you've said here and apply it to their own self and help them get over midlife crisis and see it as just, it's midlife, it's a season, and I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to love it.
Yes, yes. And also, too, it's like everybody has their own style of doing things. I wouldn't say, oh, just because I do it, that somebody needs to do it my way. No, I'm not like that at all. But at least within your own way or approach or style of doing things, you can expand yourself out. You can kind of reach out and find your way for sure. So that's super important. I think a super
Yeah,
important factor that it's all
exactly.
individual.
Being open to try different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know I didn't
Yes.
prepare you for this, but do you have any food for thought?
Ah, well, time is ticking. Time is ticking in everybody's life. And like I said, the last thing you want to do is say, why didn't I? So now is good a time as any to start making those changes for yourself. And the one thing is, be kind to yourself. All this, why didn't I? And I should have, and all this, we don't have any time for that. It's time to make a change because it'll all be good. But you have to take that step and you
Yeah.
can do it. We're women, we're strong, we're smart. And I've always believed that we were the stronger sex in every way. In every way. Keep in mind this last thought that the brain, we have the right and left hemispheres. In a woman, there's in the human brain, there's the corpus callosum. And what it does is it integrates left to right. Now, this is why they say men are pretty one focus. But women, because we're capable of being mothers and we have to multitask, our corpus callosums really integrate. So keep in mind that as women, we can multitask and men can't do that as well as we can. So that is, of course, a positive for us, and use it. Use that ability. You can do this. There's lots of things on all our tables, but you have to ultimately, we have to take care of ourselves, and that's the most important thing.
All right. For people that may want to hear more about Jen, you will find all her information in my show notes. And again, her podcast is Rock and Healthy Lifestyle.
Right. So it's Rock and Healthy Lifestyles. That's ROCK apostrophe N and Healthy Lifestyles. And you can find me on Instagram on Rock and Healthy Lifestyles or Dr. Jen Palladino on Facebook. And I also have a Facebook group called Music Hacks for Mental Health, which is a lot of fun. We talk about how music can help you lift your spirits. That's the key, is we want to lift our spirits. And so, or make us happy. So, so come join me. I'd love to meet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you very much.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Create the Best Me. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in to our conversation with the amazing Dr. Jen. I hope you learned a lot and gained some valuable insights on how to feel fully alive in midlife. If you enjoyed this episode and want to stay updated on all my latest content, please be sure to visit createthebestme.com and sign up for my newsletter. That way, you'll never miss a new episode or exciting announcements. As always, I love hearing from my listeners and viewers, so don't be shy. If you have any feedback, comments, or questions, feel free to reach out to me on social or drop a line on my website. I appreciate your support and can't wait to share more inspiring stories with you. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Bye for now.